The future is not gonna be jobs anymore, like 5, 10 years max, no jobs anymore, zero.
Meet Didi, a Dutch entrepreneur who first came to Thailand 25 years ago and is now based in Phuket with his wife and 3 daughters. He makes tens of millions of dollars through crypto, owns almost nothing, and is becoming more and more detached from the global economy and banking systems. Didi shared why he chose Thailand over everywhere else, how AI will make kids stop going to school, and the hidden truth about being a crypto multimillionaire. I'm Chernov, your insider to expat life. Bye, Kanto.
You could technically choose any place in the world
Yeah.
to live. And then you chose Thailand, and specifically Phuket. If you can guide me through your consideration process.
In the beginning, it was all because we started traveling 10 years ago. So, and I have a family of 3 daughters. And a lot of countries worldwide, if you go there and stay there too long, they force your children to go to school. And we didn't want our kids to go to school. We unschooled our children because we want to prepare them for the future and not for the past. So we have a completely different mindset about schooling. Like I think in 2017 I already wrote a book about how AI and everything was going to replace school systems, and why would I put kids into something that was like unnecessary in the future, because my iPhone is smarter than somebody that has a college degree or a university degree.
Yeah.
And that was a very big issue in the beginning. We couldn't stay everywhere because it's just schooling. The moment
But what are the countries? I know that, for example, in Germany, if you live in Germany, kids have to go to school.
Yeah.
But there are many countries like that.
Germany, the Netherlands, those are in Europe the most toughest countries. Like France, for example, you can do homeschooling or private schooling. That's like illegal in the Netherlands.
Illegal?
It's illegal.
Okay.
We tried it because after traveling for 7 months, I went back to the Netherlands to visit it. And then I had a letter of court. I need to go into court that my kids didn't go to school and I would be punished.
Ouch.
I stood there in court. I got 2-year probation. And that's when we left the Netherlands. I said, I'm never going to obey that system anymore.
Yeah.
And then we just became digital nomads, not registered anywhere. But there is a moment that your wealth starts to grow more and more, that you need to take some security steps. So that's when we became Portugal residents, because there's 0% tax on Bitcoin for 10 years.
Okay.
And then you just start to move around and create more residencies. And in the end, we ended in Phuket because we had a huge crypto community in Koh Phangan. And in Koh Phangan, we were one of 40 people working and living together. But in Koh Phangan, it's still the old-fashioned Thailand, where if they know that you make money, they will knock your door and they will come and collect a little bit of that. So we
like what? Local mafia?
I think
authorities?
It's all together. I think there's like local mafia authorities. It's all they work all.
Okay.
And then we were moving to Phuket as a huge community. So we rented Coconut Island. That was during COVID time, and that whole island was rented by the whole crypto community because the hotel was bankrupt. So we took the whole island, started a crypto community there. That didn't succeed because it was always the ferry to Phuket back, and then
Yes.
And then we started to move into Bang Tao, and that's when we all connected here. And we still have a lot of friends from the crypto space here. And then you see the beach club starting, and my kids start to create a huge social connection here with a lot of international schools. So you have a lot of international friends. And from that moment, we just got a little bit hooked to this area in Phuket. And then we travel, in the summer we always go. This year in summer we spent in Ibiza, Mallorca, the Netherlands, Belgium, and the kids also went to Greece. We always go 1 month skiing in Sierra Nevada. This year we go skiing in France. So we still move around, but we try to create a base in Phuket because the people are friendly, the food is amazing. It's still like a normal price. I think this is too expensive here for Thailand, but still doable. And everybody is happy here. And if you have a family, you need to make sure there is a balance, that all the family members are happy. And Phuket gives us all the possibilities.
Yeah. And it's also safe, here.
I think it's one of the safest countries. Look, there's a few influencers that told me, Didi, come to Dubai. Now, one of my friends lived there for 6 months. He's like, that's prison, that's modern prison. There is nothing to do. It's 40 degrees. There's a shopping mall and there is a restaurant and you have the Sahara.
In summer.
In summer,
in winter it's pleasant.
It's pleasant.
But summer,
but still, he was only stuck on his apartment because it's like, Thailand is freedom. I jump on my bike without a helmet, I drive, nobody gives a fuck. If the police stops you, you give them 1,000 baht, you can do whatever you want, you feel free. You can walk with flip-flops into the most expensive restaurant. I tried to walk with my shorts, Bob Marley shirt and flip-flops into Nusrat's restaurant. They almost denied entrance. They said, you cannot come in like that. I said, why not? Yeah, you need to dress properly. And then I was so lucky, there was a woman working from Jamaica. And she said, oh, you like Bob Marley? Yes, it's the only that I have. Okay, for one time you can come in. I do not want to live or grow up my children in a country that refuses me because I clothe or wear different shoes. You know, take me as a human being, and I pay for your food. And that's what I love in Thailand. I can do whatever I want, the way I want, and nobody will judge me. I can go tonight to Café Del Mar, there's a good DJ playing. If I go on flip-flops, I go on flip-flops. I don't need to wear Prada, I don't need to wear fancy Louis Vuittons with red. So we are minimalist. I want to stay minimalist. No ownership, and that's what I teach my kids. Happiness is not in materialistic stuff.
I think Phuket is like a good balance. It's still already developed, but not overdeveloped. Like, for example, some countries here, like nice people, nature, like the Philippines, but like many parts are not developed yet, so you don't have like your social circle, you don't have like places to go. And there are places like this, which is like overdeveloped, like Europe. I just came from London, and it feels like the city center is like, you cannot drive there more than 20 miles per hour, which is like 32 kilometers per hour. I mean, it's good for pedestrians, but then it's too much. Like, why you restrict me to drive faster?
Yeah, but let's be honest, Europe is fucked. Europe is gone. Europe is over. It's not Europe anymore. That's the biggest shithole now of the whole world. And everybody is going there, and the whole economical system that they have now is going to bankrupt whole Europe. It's not going to survive this. London is not even London anymore. I saw this comedian yesterday in the reel. He's like, yeah, I was always living in the southwest London. Now I moved to Pakistan. I didn't even take a flight. I'm still living there. So, it's, I think, look, I love a multicultural society the moment they adapt to the country where they move to. If you're going to move to a country to try to change that country into your cultural, you need to leave again. That's my opinion. And that's what the Netherlands is doing now, Germany is doing, France is doing, Spain is doing. Spain just gave 5,000 immigrants a Spanish passport. Like, boom, here you have it.
Yeah. They need to boost the economy. They need more population.
For me, if you want to boost the economy, please explain this to me. Maybe I'm too stupid to understand. The Netherlands. You're taxing the rich people. You're even increasing the tax. You're going to do POX 3 over value tax, crypto capital tax, all of that. So you're pushing out all the wealthy people. You're getting in all kinds of immigrants. You don't allow those immigrants to work. You only need to pay for the immigrants. So all rich people leave. All poor people come. The poor people cost money, and they don't spend the money. They send the money back to their country. How can that economy succeed? It's impossible. It's impossible. And then they start to complain that now that the normal people need to pay more and pay this. The whole health system is fucked. Everything is fucked. If I call a doctor here, I can do tomorrow an MRI scan, PET scan, CAT scan, everything. If I do it in the Netherlands, 8 months waiting before I get an appointment. That's not Europe anymore. That's a third world country. People that come here and have never been here, they always think Thailand, third world country. And then they come here and they're like, whoa. Healthcare is better, food is better, the air is better, the weather is better. This is the new first world, I think, in my opinion.
You're originally from the Netherlands, yeah?
Originally from the Netherlands. My father is from Indonesia. My mother is from the Netherlands. Yeah.
All right, and so you have like Asian roots, basically.
Asian roots. That's why I feel at home.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah, I feel at home here. I don't feel at home in the Netherlands anymore. I never felt at home completely. Of course, when you're young and you grew up in society in the 90s, everything was possible, and you go to school and all that stuff. But when you grow up, then you understand, this is not the country that I belong in.
Because you live this nomadic life, it would be like logical to be in Bali, or sometimes at least to be in Bali,
I've been in Bali so many times, but Thailand, sorry for my Indonesian roots to all the Indonesian people, but Thailand just is better in my opinion. It's just, I don't like the beaches that much in Thailand, and in Bali, sorry.
Bali, yeah.
Then you need to go to Nusa Lembongan or Senegal or to the Gili, that's where the beaches are beautiful. But Bali itself, for surfing, okay, but it's just not my town. And it became too busy, too crowded. Driving with a motorcycle from Canggu to Kuta is like an hour drive. Well, it's like a 10-minute walk. It's just... Yeah, I'm afraid that the same thing is going to happen here in Phuket now, because it's getting busier and they keep building, but it's still a little bit more relaxed. Still, the Thai people are so friendly, Buddhistic, Hinduistic. Yeah, I love it. If you ask me, Bali, yeah, it's not Bali anymore. Like I was in Bali the first time 2001, then 2005, 2006, 7, 8, and then slowly I saw, wow, shopping mall in Kuta. I was there in Kuta when there was no shopping mall, when there was no street, it was just beach into village. And then you see the changes, and then it's just visa-wise also difficult, tax-wise difficult. I'm an all-in Bitcoin guy. Was partly illegal in Bali to own Bitcoins and to pay with Bitcoins, so that was also not difficult for us. And we own this little dog, and you can't fly with a dog to Bali. So it's like, it doesn't fit the family. But my cousin still lives there. He's a big DJ called Yellow Claw, and he still lives in Bali. And so I'm gonna visit him and check how he's feeling. But even he is like, the Kita rules and the visas are not that easy anymore. It's becoming difficult to stay long term. Yeah. And Thailand is doing everything to promote long-term staying. You have the DTV visa for digital nomads, you have like the elite visas, you have now even visas when you buy real estate and rent that real estate out, you can get a yearly visa. So they want to attract wealth, and Bali is pushing wealth away. So I don't feel completely at home.
Can you tell me a story from the beginning?
It was in 2013 that I the first time met Bitcoin. I had a huge company, 40 employees in the Netherlands. And I got an internship from a guy from school came, and he's like, you need to do something. And I said, what are you going to do? Yeah, I want to do something with Bitcoin. And he told me that you could build a miner and start to create Bitcoin, essentially money with electricity. So I'm like, okay, that's your subject, do it. I had a computer store as well and everything. So he started to build a miner and that's when I first met Bitcoin. So by 2014, I had many Bitcoin miners up and running. And of course, then there was also my first Bitcoin crash from $1,200 to $200, where I gave up on Bitcoin. I started mining Dogecoin, and I'm like, And in 2014, December, my father got sick. He was diagnosed with cancer. And because of that, I let a manager run my companies. And in January 2016, a year later, he died. And that's when everything switched in me. That's when why have I been building these companies for years and worrying about other people's problems, and why do I enjoy my own family? And that's when I kind of made the switch to getting a huge burnout. Tell my wife I need a reset. We went into Thailand for 3 months. That was the start of this whole trip. And those 3 months, I found myself again. Like I lost my egoistic mask of being a materialist, and I found myself playing with the kids on the beach and being very happy and thinking that I understood life better at that moment. So I'm like, we should continue this. So 3 months is by now 11 years of traveling almost. So that's how it all started. At 24 age, I lost my mother. She was 48 years old. That's when I became a workaholic. I started to work to just avoid all the emotions. And by that I built 2 big companies. And then I came into the 2014 phase with my father, and then it was like, okay, now I lost my mother, I lost my father. Yes, I have money, but what is this? Is this happiness? There's no happiness. What if I die with 48? I'm turning 48 next year. My kids would now then be without a father. That's how young I didn't have a mother anymore. And then that wakes you up. And then I'm like, okay, on the beach, we spoke with each other and had a drink, and we said like, what if we just sell everything? What if we just sell the house, sell the company, sell the motorbikes, the cars, the kids have their own quads. Let's sell everything, a holiday house, and just go all into something that I believe will be the future of money. And my wife like, yeah, but you hated Bitcoin because you stopped Bitcoin mining. You thought it was not. I really think that it's going to be successful now because you saw the community growing, the forums. And that's when we flew home from Bali to the Netherlands. We sold the house, sold the car, sold everything, went all into Bitcoin. Went living on a campsite, like a real small cabin, trailer park they call it, and from there
generated big news back then. Right?
By then, the news found out. The first small town news from my hometown Venlo, and then from there Netherlands, Dutch news, and then the whole world really came flying. It's like the Ukrainian news came flying to our campsite to film us, interview us. They came from America, they came from New Zealand. They came flying to our campsite just to interview us. And I loved that attention because I'm an attention seeker. I want to become a professional football player. I played professional all my youth until I started traveling and everything. So for me, that was okay. But my wife at that moment said, nah, this is not the life I want. Let's go again. We go and we travel. Yeah. And that's when it started. We started to escape all the news and everything, and we went back to Thailand because we really felt safe. I found myself there. And that's the kind of the Bitcoin family was born that way. It still was not that big until in Koh Phangan. In Koh Phangan, we were living happily with 40 families in a huge resort. Like we didn't even know how to be a digital nomad, how to even educate kids, like if you're traveling. So we went together with a huge family and a group of families, and that's where we educated ourselves on how do you travel, how do you educate, how do you do this, how do you do that.
So back then, how much was it, the big Bitcoin? So we keep track.
When we went all into Bitcoin, we started to buy Bitcoin at $200. $800 was the biggest part, and the last part, my pension fund and all our savings, was around $3K.
So when you went all in, how much wealth did you
A few
have?
hundred K.
Few hundred K,
Yeah.
that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. What made you believe like so deep in Bitcoin back then? I mean, it was hype at some point. I remember 2017.
Yeah.
I used to go to Moscow. I came there, and like half of the community, they do like mining, Bitcoin mining was like big thing back then, and people are like talking about it. But like, what made you like believe that it 100% is gonna work?
I don't think it's only the belief. I believed it would go up to $10,000 or even $11,000. That was the belief that we had back then when it was $900. It goes to 10K, we're filthy rich. But even if you believe something with everything you have, taking this step is still too big if you're addicted to materialistic society and wealth. The fact that we lost all the fear of losing everything, losing money, losing the house, because we lost the parents, that was way more important than losing a little bit of money.
Yes.
I can always build back. The fact that we lost the fear of losing that, plus the fact that we believed, made it possible to go just all in. Because I know so many people that fully believe, all the influencers pretend to believe, but they all have bank accounts and real estate. Yeah. We are the only ones, I think, that are fully all in, still all in. No bank accounts, already 9 years bankless, unbanked. And I will never have a bank again because the future won't need banks anymore. So that belief grew from that moment, because I started to, educate myself more about Bitcoin, blockchain, the peaceful anarchistic possibilities. Yeah? And that's when I started to believe that it really could, in the far future, become a world reserve currency. Even back then, there was already wars happening, Iran, Iraq. And I'm like, how can they still use the same value every time? They're all fighting with each other and still calculating in dollars. There will be a moment that this is going to end. Now, and then I started to travel, and during the travel, the first thing that we did, we went to the roots, to a very tiny island in the Moluccan Islands, where I met my family, and they lived life of 70 cents a day, not having a bank, not having the possibility to connect to a bank. But the worst part, when we left, we didn't have a possibility to send them money. And that one is the last puzzle fell on its place for me. Oh shit, but now it is. Now, they and I can use Bitcoin. I can send them a little bit of Bitcoin and they can receive it without fees. And that was for me the last part, that it was like, I still get goosebumps when I tell it. This was the last part that made me understand this is going to change the full future. Because what I can do in my family, everybody in the future can do without a bank. This is going to change the complete monetary system. That was the last thing that I needed in 2017 while we were traveling the first few months to understand the use case of Bitcoin. That's when it became all clear. I'm like, okay, this is what people did with the internet, I can now do with money. So I'm going to bet big on that. And that's when we flew home and went all in, and the conviction was fully there. And we didn't give a fuck if we lose, because we were like, when we came from school, we came with nothing. We had zero. And what did we do? We just built. I started to work, I started to get a mortgage, I started to get a house, I got to get a company, and I built capital. Everyone can start today and build and make money. You don't need to be afraid of that. Even if everything goes completely wrong, I start over. I have myself, I have my knowledge, I have...
Did you have kids back then?
Yeah, 3.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh, all 3, yeah, because they... Yeah. And did you have any fear?
The fear...
You and your wife?
The biggest fear was, are my kids going to be retards? That's the biggest fear. That's the biggest fear, because they don't go to school. And we grew up in a society where schooling is normal. So that's the biggest fear. Can we even pull this off? Will the youngest one learn to read, to write? It's like, is it even possible? There is no guide to tell you it's possible. So that was our biggest fear. And that's a huge fear, because you make the decision for your children's future. So that could have gone completely wrong as well. I need to admit on that. That's the fear. But then when we started the traveling and living together with those other families that already did it for a couple of years, we understood, wow, we are not the only ones. Like there's a huge part of the society that lives this way. That fear slowly went away while we were meeting more and more people. And that's what I think one of the rules in life is, you become who you surround yourself with. So as long as you live in the Netherlands, you become the classical hamster wheel running Dutch person. The moment you move around and start to hang out with 5 other families that also travel, you become a digital nomad. And then the moment that you are like, okay, now I'm going to hang out with entrepreneurs, you become an entrepreneur because you become the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. So yeah, it's just the journey of life, but everything starts with losing fear. You need to lose the fear that your kids become stupid. You need to lose the fear that you will lose everything. You need to lose the fear that why always focus on fear when you can also focus on future, love, and possibilities. The most difficult thing in life is to take that first step. And then when you take that first step, you want to take it again and again and again. That's with everything. You want to bungee jump, you shit your pants climbing up the ladder the first time you jump. And then you jump, you're like, again and again and again. You know, it's like fear. You need to overcome fear.
How you choose what people to hang out with?
In the beginning, you of course really look at people on social media. You're like, okay, what is he doing? What is he achieving? What is, you know, because when you stop and you step out of that hamster wheel life, you, of course, you enjoy the first few months being on the beach in a hammock with a drink and you're like, oh, this is life. But after a few months, you also get bored. You just want to be active. You want to be contributing to society. Whatever it is that you want to do something. And then again, you start to, you look at podcasts, what are other people doing? And then you slowly start to move towards that. And that's how you attract them again. And that's how you go to a crypto meetup and meet people at that meetup. And you surround yourself with crypto-minded people. I never found the people that I really liked. So I really quickly converted into building those communities. You know, I just opened in Lagos, Portugal. I was the first one to open a Bitcoin beach bar on the beach. I wanted Bitcoin to be accepted in that town. So how could I do that? By leading by example. So I opened the bar and I said, we accept Bitcoin. It became the Bitcoin Bam Bam Beach Bar. Even New York Times came, everything. And then from there, the next bar started to accept Bitcoin. The next restaurant started to accept Bitcoin. So then you create a community and then the community loves you because of creating the community. And then again, you surround yourself with people that love the same thing that you created.
Yeah.
So it's mostly out of creation that I meet the community instead of like really searching for an existing community.
Yeah, you know? I think you're right. So first you can look online and like discover channel like yourself, like your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. But then the next step, what I learned after like interviewing billionaires and like successful people, it's still there is a part of the conversation that happens only off camera when the camera is off. So people don't. Some people are very genuine in front of the camera, but then the real decisions, real conversations are normally off camera. So I told you about this trip we're doing in Phuket actually here. I'm bringing high-level people together, and then some coming from Singapore, some from Bangkok, from Hong Kong. And that's pre-selected small like private group, and we will hang out here for 2 days and really exchange what like the 5% or 1% of people are talking about, thinking about now. We're actually going to see this billionaire I told you, one of the billionaires that I interviewed here in Phuket. We're going to spend a couple of hours with him.
Yeah, but that's really beautiful. But that's also the kind of thing that I like about Phuket. You can walk around the beach and think there is 0 billionaires because they all drop as billionaires, but there is so many billionaires on this island. It's insane. There's a lot of really rich people. Even one of the exchanges I work a lot with is, for example, Bybit, the owner of Bybit. They even have houses here, clubs and bars, and it's insane. TZF from Binance is always here. It's a lot of people that visit Phuket because of yet possibilities and still, high level of restaurants, food, but also being able to walk around without a suit. That's also very nice.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because when I selected people for this group, like I talked to many people who wanted to join, and then almost all of them, they were like excited about going to Phuket. The event is happening here. So I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check. I'm a big believer in the communities. You can actually like build this community for yourself. I think actually the super important part is that you surrounded yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And like this, one of my main beliefs, like you need to if you want to be like X, you need to find people in X and like be around them. Otherwise, the force that inside us, because of school, because society, government, is too strong. It's hard to change the course of your life if you don't change your surroundings. And it's actually, it's because some people think it's okay, it's by random, you meet people, but it's actually, it's work. If you put some effort on meeting like people, for example, I like the concept of like 5% of people. What are the 5% of people think about now? What they talk about now? What's in their mind?
I truly believe that, and it's difficult in the beginning, but everything takes time, but everything is also just possible. Nothing is impossible, and I think that people just should start to believe in that. And then it's very strange when you meet the first few people. In my time, for example, I was 42 at that time already, and I told my kids I want to become a YouTuber, and my kids were laughing, and they're like, "Dad, come on, you're 42, YouTuber. What are you going to do?" I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, But that's because I met 5 people that were all being YouTubers about Bitcoin, and I was always talking about Bitcoin, that everybody was like, "Oh man, shut up." Okay, I'm gonna make a YouTube video, then more people can listen to me. And that's how I started YouTube, because I hung out with some YouTubers. At that time it was Crypto, Carl the Moon, all these are good friends of mine. And that's when I started doing that. I'm like, okay, that's a passion now, I love to make content, I love to make videos. And that's with everything in life, it all depends on how strong you want to change. And that's the only thing. And the change is always what people fear. And for me, the change gives all the possibilities. Every time when we change, new things happen that I never expected before, and they are all more beautiful than we already had. So that's the same with money. I was hating money because I was an entrepreneur. I needed to pay tax, I need to do this, I need to pay salaries, and always fights about salary increasement. And I hate it. I'm like, wow, money, ugh. The moment I shifted and I started to love money and just admit that I'm a money addict or a Bitcoin addict or what you call it, that it's a red line throughout your life, that's the moment when I let go of money, the moment I said, okay, it will come. That's the moment money came and came and came and more and in the form of Bitcoin. But the world works in mysterious ways, I think. And I really believe in things like manifesting, visualizing, law of attraction. I think that's at least something that people can use to take that first step, to get believing in a better version for themselves.
You mentioned your kids. So your daughters, how old are they?
The oldest one is now 20, 18, and 15.
Okay. So I'm very curious how they socialize, because I have 2 daughters. They're still young, 2.5 and 8.5.
Yeah.
If they don't go to school, like how they find friends, how they find social circle.
There is this phase in their life that it was difficult. When they started with unschooling, we were still traveling. We did like 44 countries in the last 10 years. So it's all one big adventure. The whole world is a school. The first time a monkey, the first time an elephant, all of that stuff. And then there comes a phase when they go into puberty. And that phase of puberty, wherever you live in the world, they spend most of the time in their bedroom. They just don't want to be outside. They want to be in their room. They want to be playing games. They want to be like creating TikToks, Reels, whatever they do on their bedroom. You need to just give in to that. You can't push them to do this or do that. We didn't do that in that age.
What age is it? Like 12 to
12
15?
to 14, and mostly 15, they're out of that.
Yeah.
And then from 15, they go more to the beach. And when they are 16, they go also sometimes to a bar. Like my kids went to the bar with me, of course. I love a little party now and then. And then, they start to connect with other international students that also are in Thailand. There's a lot of international schools, so it's kids from all over the world, and they always go to the same beach bar and connect. And that's how they create a huge community. And then, in the beginning, it was 10 people, 20 people. And then I think it's 2 years ago, my oldest daughter, she threw a Halloween party. So we rented a house for her. She wanted to make a huge Halloween party. And we rented a villa, and she did all the decorations. I want her to become an entrepreneur. So I want her to start small, organize a party, see what's all necessary to do that organization. And then she started to sell tickets through Facebook, like 300 baht, all-inclusive, drinking and food and everything. And at the end, there were 160 kids. So the villa was too small. She was like, shit, Dad, I didn't expect so many people. Wow. But that's how big the community is. And then, of course, it's not all friends, but in the end, you keep a few left. And it's just beautiful to see. And now they even give their friends jobs. They all work for media kids, and I tell them, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to have other people doing your work while you still make profit. Simple as that. So I'm teaching them that, and that's exactly what they're doing now. So it's really cool to see the development of kids that don't go to school and that are not like completely molded by the normal system.
Who does the teaching? For example, if they need to teach history or science or like AI, like who does the job?
We did some unschooling, then we turned into, because I invested in an online school, we went into online schooling. But also online schooling depends on online media and online content and online contact moments. And when I saw the first generation AI, I told my wife, stop it. Just stop full schooling. Stop the whole schooling system. We don't need school to become social. Because if I send them to school to become social, they become social with those people that won't have a future. They are prepared for the past. I don't want my kids to socialize with children that are prepared for the past. I want them to socialize with children that have the same mindset, that want to become bigger, that want to travel, that want to explore the world, that want to explore the possibilities of AI. Why should I still read a book? Why should I still do 4-year college to become a graphical designer? ChatGPT does the same in 10 seconds. What is this certificate? There is money that has inflation. The biggest inflation is money. Second biggest inflation, university degrees. Millions of people have it and it's worthless. It's worthless. My kid, without going to school, can do the job 10 times as fast and 10 times as good by using the right AI tools. So they are all now running around with something that you can't use anymore.
Yeah.
Like the Dutch Gilder. I don't have Dutch Gilders anymore. I can't use them.
Yeah. What other subjects that you think they need to learn overall?
I think they need to be able to be very creative in understanding what society needs and understanding how to teach AI to do exactly that. Because there's one thing that AI still lacks, and that's creativity. It can only fulfill the job that I tell him to do.
Yes.
So if you become very creative in that, then you have the future. Because the future is not going to be jobs anymore. Give it like 5-10 years max. No jobs anymore. Zero. It's just impossible to compete with this. It's like the same like trading. Look, I'm a Bitcoiner, I trade. People always ask me, how can I become the best trader? You can't. Even if you are the best trader, you're trading against algorithms. Algorithms that like in a split of a second make 1,000 calculations while you're still doing your first calculation. And you want to compete with trading to that? It's like Lionel Messi, the best football player in the world, trying to play to 1,000 Lionel Messis and thinking he can win the match against 1,000 Lionel. It's impossible. It's impossible. And that's not only happening in trading, it's going to happen in secretary jobs, it's going to happen in personal assistance, planning, logistics. There is no job that can still compete with this. It's impossible. So why prepare them for that? So I tell them, be creative. Start to think of the problems that are going to happen in the next 5 years because of AI. What are the people going to run into? Is it going to be social problems? Are we going to have very big social economic problems because people don't have jobs anymore? What do people do when they don't have jobs? They get bored. What are they going to do? Are they going to be aggressive? Are they going to find like, when we were a kid and we were bored, we were doing like the childhood, how do you call this? Doorbell and all that stuff. You go do like these.
If you're bored, yeah.
What are adult people going to do that don't have a job anymore? And what is the solution to prevent that? Or what is the solution to help them and not becoming bored? Start to think about that. Start to discuss with ChatGPT, with Grok about the solution that you can provide for the future society. And then start something. Start your first company and start to try to help humanity because we are going to lose the war against AI.
From the legal standpoint, will they have the certificate that they finished school, like high school?
No.
Or no?
No.
So it's like no paper?
No. I don't want them to have paper. I also don't want them to have euros or dollars. It's shit coins. So why would I want them to have something that they won't be able to use or that will make them poor in the future? The paper is 4 years throwing away of your life to get a paper that doesn't hold any value. What paper do you have and what job are you doing? What paper do I have? What job? Like all the billionaires I have met in the world, they didn't give a fuck about papers. They just build, create. So I always tell them, if you get that paper, 4 years of schooling, you get depressed. What do you do when you're depressed? You go and only consume real story. Stop consuming, start creating. So I tell them that. And that's, if you don't spend too much time in memorizing books like a monkey, then you can also start to invent and create social media and make money or bitcoins.
Very quick heads up. I have a Telegram channel where I share my insights after the interviews with billionaires, celebrities, politicians. Also right there, how I grow my YouTube channel. It's basically more raw and unfiltered opinions because I cannot share everything on YouTube due to their platform regulations. So if you want to follow me there, scan this QR code or click the link in description. Do you value discipline in life? Or
Yeah, norms and value. Yeah.
okay, how you make kids be disciplined and like have some structure and frame in their life if they don't have like a normal
Normal
what
school,
people
yeah.
say, a normal school?
It's very simple. It's not that difficult. You know, the reason that parents create discipline and structure is because they need to create time for themselves. That's the only reason. Because they send the kids from daycare, newborn kids, into primary school, into school, so that they can do their job and they can be focusing on themselves. So essentially people are taking kids and they don't really want to take the time to care for the kids. So the moment that you don't send your kids to school and you don't have a job because your capital is working for you, you really have the time to spend with your kids and also enjoy spending time with the kids. Because if you're doing a job and next to that still need to spend time to the kids, you get stressed because it's just too much. You need to make, as a wife, you need to make your husband happy, the kids happy, your employer happy. Yeah. Of course you get stressed. Of course you don't have fun and after your job doing the dishes, cooking and talking to your kid. And that's when we understood, no, we are on turnaround. We want to get away from the employee mindset where you work to make money and use that money as an asset to buy groceries or to buy whatever it is or pay rent, and convert that mindset into the billionaire mindset where you use money not as that tool, but you use money to make more money or to make more bitcoins or to make more gold, to make more capital. You use it in a completely different way, and then that capital starts to work for you. And most people now will say, yeah, but you had capital to start. Everyone has that same possibility almost in Europe. They all have a house, they all have an overvalue, 200K, 300K. What do? They leave it in that house. They let the bank use it so that they can do fractionalized banking with their money. Sell the fucking house, take the 300K overvalue, put it in a store of value like Bitcoin or gold, increase that value every 4-year cycle, and you're done. Your capital is working for you while you rent these beautiful houses.
Let me challenge you a little bit. I was always like, okay, your happiness is in your hands. I'm more entrepreneurial. I left like corporate job like 12 years ago. And I always thought, okay, why, for example, let's take a Grab driver here in Thailand. So for them, probably they don't have a ability because they don't have like the way, they don't know how to learn probably, or like they don't have laptop. They don't have ability to learn things because also they don't have any example in their social circle. It's a matter of like, they don't believe that it's possible. It's all the rich people that can do it. I think it's to some extent it's true. It's like probably Elon Musk thinks about us like, oh, why these people, why they're not sending like rocket ships to the space. But from Elon Musk's standpoint, it's kind of easy, and from our standpoint, it's kind of easy to say like grab a taxi driver to like go learn AI. But in reality, they don't have ability to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it also depends on how that Grab driver drives. You know, if they would stop chatting with all their friends and family while driving and start listening to podcasts like yours and be educated because of that, they would also grow. It's also about self-growth. It's not always the possibilities around you. It's also about yourself. So you need to be growing yourself into becoming a better person or a smarter person, and that's by educating yourself. And you don't always need fancy things because, you know, every Grab driver has like three iPhones or ATCs, or they have so many mobiles.
That's true.
So it's but the belief, I think, there is correct. They don't believe it is possible. Like I didn't believe it was possible as well 15 years ago. I also went to school. I also was a normal guy growing up in the Netherlands, working for an employer. And I didn't believe that I could make millions a month by becoming a YouTuber or a Bitcoiner. But there comes a moment that you run into something in life that you need to wake up. And I think everybody experiences that one and the other way. Sometimes it's the passing away of their parents. Like for me, sometimes it's the passing away of your wife, so as others. Then you wake up again. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I selling my time so cheap to an employer? So cheap just to drive a Grab? Why am I not selling my time way more expensive? So I really have a beautiful life. And I think like the Thai people are not like in core like us. Like we grew up in Western society in the Netherlands in the 90s, where everything was possible, where everything could be bought, where you were molded into becoming a materialist. The more you buy, the happier you get. You need to have a house, you need to have a baby, you need to have a car, 2 cars, 3 cars. And then at the end, when you buy more and more and more, you become more happy. That's how we grew up. Buddhism is different. Be happy with what you have. They don't even have that mindset, oh, we need more, more, more. When they have enough income in a day, they just close the store and they go to the beach. You know, it comes back to the story of the fisherman. You know, the rich guy that goes to the fisherman and tells you need to buy 10 boats. And then you can make more money. And then you can buy more boats and become international. And then you can come with pension and you can go sit on the beach and enjoy. And then the fisherman says, I'm already doing that. That's the Thai people. Yeah. They are already doing that. For me, as a rich individual coming from the Western society, I am learning every day over here. Yes, we are a minimalist family, we don't own anything, but it's so damn difficult to get that materialistic mindset out of my mind.
For sure.
But Thailand helps. Thailand helps me to stay grounded because all the people around me are grounded. All the people smile when they can sell you a coconut for 40 baht. So it's for me, it's like the Thai just don't have it in them, and I think they wouldn't even use it if they get filthy rich.
What are the other big principles that you have in your life?
Education. So for me, because we always touched base on this, like if it comes to education, we are missing one kind of education. And the only thing that in crypto we did wrong, completely wrong, is not focus on the children, on the youth. The thing that the banks did really right, they caught you on a very early age, you know, because you got a savings account, you know, when you were 13, you got your own banking card. We don't do that with crypto. So I started my own platform, educational, Didi Bam Bam, which is already focusing with like childish cartoons to really small kids, showing them the difference between money and Bitcoin. So for me, one of the values in life is education. You know, Nelson Mandela once said that education is the most powerful tool to change the world. You know, I still believe this because it all starts with education. Financial education is a thing that we lack. So I started to build a project that really gives a financial education to newcomers. Transparency for me is a very important value. Honesty is a very important value. Family is one of the most important value for me.
What's the meaning of life for you?
I think it is very simple meaning. Meaning of life is being happy. Happiness, nothing else. The rest is all overvalued. Money is overvalued. Bitcoin is overvalued. Everything that is materialistic is overvalued. The only thing that is really important is being happy. It's just being happy. And I think you get more happy if you understand that you accept what there is. Not only always search for more and more and more, but be happy what there is at the moment, you know. And then if you start to, for me, it was very important to be living in Thailand to be able to do this because, let's be honest, I'm not strong enough to live the same way in Europe or in Dubai because everybody has a big car, everybody has jewelry, so you get sucked into that again. You don't need to be the same because else you don't belong.
Yes.
So for me, it was more easy to do this here and to find that internal happiness without. You see it. You have a beautiful house, but it's not mine. You know? I don't own a car. I don't own an airplane. I go to some beach clubs. So for me, happiness comes from experiences. So the only thing that I spend a lot of money on is experiences, and that lead to my happiness. So everyone has their own thing, I think, that will lead to their happiness, and I think that's the only thing they need to search for.